happy 6-month anniversary to El Show. And it's perfect. It's very apropos. Because this really is the best time of year to be a pro wrestling fan. And do you know why?
So much fucking wrestling.
Yes, but it's the Royal Rumble specifically. WrestleMania is the show of shows and it is like the pinnacle and it is the best. But the Royal Rumble just hits different. There's that excitement every year. It's just something about the Royal Rumble. It's my favorite thing. Like, I go back and watch old Rumbles far more often than I go back and watch old WrestleMania matches.
Basically, you can say probably because the end of the Rumble is basically the start of the road to WrestleMania.
And that's exactly it. Yeah, like there's so much at stake. There's so many feuds that will kind of get teased throughout the course of the match. Obviously, we always get our fun surprise appearances and shit. Like, the Royal Rumble is just such a great such a great exhibition of pro wrestling, such a great celebration of pro wrestling. It's always so much fucking fun. And in honor of the most fun event of the year, we've got some predictions here lined up. We're going to go through person by person and kind of break them down, but the categories are the surprise of the night that we're expecting, who is going to get the most eliminations, who will be in the final four, and who will be the winner. I don't think I'm forgetting anything. I'm pretty sure that's it.
That's it, yeah.
So we'll go ahead and we'll start with the men's rumble. And I guess we'll just go through mine first here. I'll go ahead and do the big reveal here.
I can't see, so you have to read them.
Got it. Okay, that's good. That's good.
I'm blind as fuck. Once again, chat.
So we'll start off with my surprise, and this one does have a bit of a caveat because we don't 100% know the medical status. But if there was ever a year that it made sense for Big E to make his big return,
Interesting.
this would be the year.
Big E.
So I know you're saying, I tried to think outside of the box a bit. At first, I was thinking about just some of the TNA guys or NXT guys, but those almost don't feel like they're going to be as much of a surprise because it just kind of feels like that's going to happen. So I tried to think a bit more outside of the box. And again, it all obviously all hangs on the health of Big E. I would never want anybody to step into a wrestling ring if they aren't 100% sure and confident that they are going to be able to walk out of there just about close to as healthy as they can. And I'm normally not the type of person to predict these types of super big returns after super long, that type of stuff. Like in previous years, I would have never thrown out Big E. But this year, because of everything that's happened with the New Day and the fact that it all came from Big E and their shitty treatment of the poor guy, it just feels like this would be the year.
Interesting.
Where you have maximum hype, maximum, oh my god, it's Big E. Now, again, we'll see. All hinges on the health stuff, so, you know, if it doesn't happen, I won't be disappointed at all because, of course, like I said, you don't want anyone to put themselves into any danger or anything, but it is one of those things that I think, again, this is the time to do it if there was ever a time to do it. Most eliminations is an interesting one. I went back and forth a couple different times, but ultimately it just has to be Fatu.
You think that was gonna come in and clean house?
Has to be. It had like, yes, there are other valid candidates, and I tossed a couple names around, but ultimately, if we look at where we're at right now, he is on an upwards trajectory with, like, just a nuclear fucking rocket strapped to his back. He is human. Yeah. I'm pretty sure they announced that on the last episode of Raw. If not, like, yeah, like, we could just, I'm pretty sure we could assume he's
How
gonna
much
be there.
more?
I'm pretty sure they announced it though on SmackDown. Sorry, on SmackDown. But regardless, I do think that when we get to see the Samoan Werewolf, he is gonna fucking wreck shop. I do. I don't have him in my final four. I'll spoil that right now because I think he's just gonna go so crazy that he's just gonna like make some type of mistake or like some people will gang up
Get
on him or
distracted or
something.
some
Yeah,
shit.
like yeah, it'll be some dumb shit, but he will have a short but impactful run where he just cuz bro, it's the way that they've booked this dude so far against the top level main event players where he's like no selling some of the most like significant finishers in WWE right now, and then he goes in there and there's like some of the mid card guys or some, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, he's gonna just throw those motherfuckers
dude,
over, bro.
dude, like, yeah,
He's just that type of character.
that's how it should be. Yeah, with the way that they've built him up to be, it should just be him walking up to people and like, you don't deserve to be here, by. You don't deserve to be here, by, and just clear the fucking ring out. Exactly. I think that there's a really big continuation of the star making era that we're in right now with Jacob, that like he doesn't even have to win it, but if they just book him the right way throughout the match, it could add to the lore that we're developing
Jacob
around.
fought to the clubhouse.
Two.
Most eliminations.
I think so. I think it's a pretty strong bet. But let's get into the good stuff here. These are the big ones. The final four of the Royal Rumble is genuinely one of the just. It's one of the best moments in wrestling every year, because as the Royal Rumble is already one of the best matches, and when you get down to that final four and we
Everybody
take that
has to
moment,
stare down and shit like that.
oh, it's the fucking best. It's the fucking best. And with this year specifically, boy, I went back and forth a lot. When I was trying to come up with this, it was fucking hard, man. It was fucking hard. Yeah, it was tough, man, because the people that yeah, man. Oof. All right. I got John Cena.
Okay.
Pretty obvious. CM Punk.
Okay.
Pretty obvious. I have Seth freaking Rollins. And I have Drew McIntyre.
Oh.
I know.
Oh.
I'm sorry.
Oh.
I know.
Oh.
I know.
Oh.
I know.
Damn. Why?
Drew convinced me. Like, it is such a perfect setup for the rest of his storyline going into WrestleMania. If Drew eliminates Roman, doesn't win the Rumble, and then we end up with Drew versus Roman at WrestleMania, and it doesn't even need a title, because it's Drew versus Roman. There's so much history, there's so much attached to that. I feel like you could justify that being a non-title WrestleMania match. Wow. I can see it. I can feel it.
Drew McIntyre.
I want. This is more of a want than anything, but I want Drew to eliminate Roman. I feel like it's the perfect step up that his character needs, because he's already done so much for himself over the last 12 months. I feel like this would be a way for him to step up even higher in the rankings and yet guarantee himself a WrestleMania level feud. That the promos that we would get from Drew and Roman with where they're at now and all the history, I know it's a big shout. But that's where I'm at with it right now.
Wow.
I know it's a little wild. Like, I accept that it's a little wild. Not having Roman in there was like, am I really gonna do this? And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do it. Fuck it. I'm gonna do it. Fuck it. I see it. I fuck with the vision. I think Drew should do it. And the reason I think it happens earlier than the final four is because then when you get down to Cena, Punk, Seth, and Drew, particularly with Punk, Seth, and Drew, it's kind of like a three-way hate triangle.
Mm-hmm.
And then you just got Cena in there as well, which just adds a pretty interesting dynamic to the whole thing. Obviously, there's a lot there as well. And so I think that final four does still present a lot of interesting options of like who goes after who, what happens next. But I think the way that it all shakes out, and your winner of the 2025 Men's Royal Rumble, CM Punk. I gave it some more thought, and as much as earlier on when we were discussing the Rumble, I was wondering if the Paul Heyman favor meant that Punk didn't have to win the Rumble to still end up in Mania. But he's so over as a babyface right now, and I feel like using a favor to get a Mania match is kind of heelish, like kind of taking the easy way out kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't be surprised if the favor is either
He swaps his number with someone.
something along those lines where like he gets to come out later, or if he has Heyman tell Roman to like you don't eliminate Punk. I don't something along those lines where it's even that's a little bit kind of you could argue cowardly heel shit, but basically I think they find a way to babyface out the favor thing and make it unfortunately not as big of a deal as it might have seemed initially in the first place, but we still get to the CM Punk winning the Rumble moment and CM Punk main eventing either night 1 or night 2 of WrestleMania for the title, but we get just it's I now have kind of shifted my opinion to thinking that that's the best way to establish Punk's path to Mania because of how fucking ridiculously over he is as a babyface. I say let's just ride the wave of all the people loving CM Punk and let's put him in the driver's seat of the road to WrestleMania. And you could do it either way. You could do Punk Gunther or Punk Cody, and I think you're printing money because they're all so good. And that's stuff we could get into later. But yeah, I got CM Punk as the winner of the 2025 Rumble.
I thought you told me we're gonna talk about who we want him to challenge though.
I did mention that, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Well then, fuck it. I'll give you mine then. Yeah, I forgot I had texted you about that earlier. Well now I'm on the spot. I'ma say, I'ma say Gunther. Because I think Cody's got a lot more potential, bigger shit. You could still find a way to get Cena in there with Chamber, some shit, which would be huge. You could find a way to get Roman in there with Chamber, other shit. Like, there's still, I think, other bigger matches for Cody.
Shit, yeah.
And I would also be scared to risk turning the crowd against Cody. Because Punk's in that zone right now with the crowd where it's like everyone who's buying a ticket to go to a wrestling show is losing their fucking shit when CM Punk's music plays and chanting his name and other wrestlers, even other baby faces like Seth Rollins and shit. Like, I just don't think at this point with the white hot baby face that CM Punk is, you want to put that up against Cody Rhodes. I think you just keep that separate for now. It doesn't mean we can't get to it eventually. Maybe once Punk has cooled down a bit, or if you're a little more willing to explore Cody as a heel. But for now, I think it's probably safest to keep them separate. Like I said, I still think Punk versus Gunther is genuinely so good and still a main event caliber match. So I'm going to go ahead and say Punk versus Gunther. Night 1 main event, WrestleMania. Because they're going to reserve Cody for night 2, I'm sure. But
yeah, of course.
that is my prediction.
And that's gonna be his WrestleMania moment, you think?
Yes.
Oh.
We will be closing out night 1 of WrestleMania.
Let's see him
singing Cult of Personality.
With the fans.
He'll bonus prediction after he wins the title, call back to Money in the Bank 2011, he'll jump in the crowd and blow the kiss to the camera and like just walk off into the crowd and celebrate.
Watch that foot dip again.
Nah, it'll just be a callback, but just to like look at me now, look how far we've come. I think that'd be cool. But bonus prediction. But yeah, man, that is my men's Royal Rumble predictions. Let's go ahead and I'm revealing Luis's predictions here.
That's funny as fuck, bro.
Oh shit. Oh shit. Okay. So for your surprise, we have TNA champion Joe Hendry making his Royal Rumble debut.
Like you said, it's gonna happen, bro.
That's why it's got
It's
to.
gonna happen. Bro.
Yeah. Now I feel like, especially with the news recently of TNA and WWE doing their little deal and everything.
And that fool with this hype, they're of course they're gonna want that little pop from the crowd when that fool comes in as champion.
100%, 100%. Do you think there's any chance he makes it somewhat late, or is it just like
he'll probably be there probably for like 8 minutes, probably max?
Not like that would be somewhat respectable. Because this is why it gets tricky. This is something that I think is going to be interesting. He is the world champion of
TNA.
That's a big deal. So when you bring him in, you don't want to book him like a mid-carder.
He's supposed to get targeted, bro.
But so it'll be interesting to see how that all plays out. Yeah, it'll be interesting. But yeah, I do agree. I do think Joe Hendry will be making an appearance, and I will be very excited for that. Most eliminations, Drew McIntyre.
I think that fool's gonna come in probably like in 14th or 15th, and that fool's just gonna come in clean house.
Clean up. Like, just because of the rage of everything with that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
He's gonna have a drive to fucking get far and shit like that.
The only reason I'm not sure is because I feel like he might be someone that just comes out later, because I feel like he's gonna be involved in the, as I said, in the later shit. Yeah, but I guess that's our differences on how I see where you're coming from. I could see Drew in that role. I just saw Drew maybe doing something a little different, like being in the Final Four. But I see where you're coming from, though. And speaking of the Final Four, we have Roman Reigns.
That's the difference we have.
Seth freaking Rollins, CM Punk, and John Cena. And I honestly,
it can go
almost wrote that down.
Either
so this was my thing, actually. When I first sat down to do these predictions, for the Final Four in the Men's Rumble specifically, I had 3 names locked in, written in stone, and they were John Cena, CM Punk, and Roman Reigns.
There's no way they're not.
But then I unchiseled Roman Reigns' name out of the stone that I had set it in. I was like, well, actually, I changed my mind. I like this Drew McIntyre thing. I think that's more fun. But I dead ass thought that, like, I there was no way when I first sat down to do these predictions earlier today, there was no way in my mind I wasn't gonna write Roman, Cena, and Punk in the Final Four. It was just a matter of who was fourth. And so I 100% see where you're coming from. Like, honestly, I think that's more likely in a lot of ways than what I predicted. I just think mine's more just different. I would like to see it, but I think that what you're saying here is, like, probably one of the most likely scenarios, if we're being totally honest here. And we agree on the winner, which is interesting. We both have CM Punk. I wasn't expecting. So was that a challenge? Were you going back and forth with that one?
Not really, honestly.
Really?
Yeah.
You didn't think Roman or Cena? Because I know you don't really think Seth. We've talked about that off camera, that you don't really feel like Seth had a chance.
I think Roman's gonna win it somehow. Get his chance another way, bro. He's gonna have to, like, fucking get his fucking shit back. For sure. He's gonna get it back, but he's gonna have to fucking work for it. Because there's no way Cody's gonna drop it yet.
So you don't think we get Roman Cody at Mania?
No.
Because Cody is gonna win at WrestleMania?
He has to win at WrestleMania, bro.
Because if I finish the rest of your prediction here, you have CM Punk challenging Cody Rhodes. That's what it says right there on my screen. It says Punk and he challenges Cody.
I was just thinking about it at that time. It's like, fuck. That fool just says, I can go the fucking easy route or just be fucking CM Punk and say, fuck the system. You guys want probably fucking Roman Reigns, and I'm gonna go fucking challenge Cody Rhodes and shit.
So now
you saw the promo this past Monday Night Raw and shit, bro.
Yeah.
He talked his fucking shit to him, bro.
Yeah. But you're telling me CM Punk is gonna win the Royal Rumble
and
challenge Cody Rhodes and lose? And Cody's gonna beat CM Punk in the main event, night 2, WrestleMania? You're playing with fire, man. You're playing with fire. I hope you know that. Did your mom ever tell you not to play with fire?
It's a hot take, but fuck it, bro.
Because, like, that's what I was just saying, is that you risk the fans turning on your champion and booing that man on the Raw after Mania if the hero CM Punk doesn't get his moment. Wow. You went there.
We'll see what it leads up to, bro.
So, why do you think Cody has to retain in Mania? What's your rationale there?
Because he's still too babyface, bro. If Punk is gonna be over, he has to be. One of them gonna have to be more over than the other one at some point, bro. And like I said, it might be a good angle to go, like, oh, Cody gets fucking booed out the title or some shit like that. Not booed out the title, but like he fucking Punk somehow gets a rematch or some shit.
I don't know about that one, Chief. So you're telling me you want to use night 2 of WrestleMania to purposefully bury your champion to get the fans to turn on him?
We'll see, bro.
By not letting Punk go over? You want to try and get your champion heat on night 2 of WrestleMania in the main event?
We'll see, bro.
You don't think a 1 year long title reign is pretty good? And it's not like he can't ever win it again.
That's true.
Like, I'm at the point where his title reign has been long enough.
So do you think,
I even feel like if he dropped it to KO,
so
it's still a strong title.
Do you think personally, if Punk challenges Cody, Punk has a good chance of winning?
I would let Punk beat God at WrestleMania.
Yo.
Punk is in a special place that Cody was in 1 year ago.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Sometimes the fans just decide we haven't seen you have that moment yet, and it's your time. You deserve it. And the fans are like giving every ounce of energy into everything CM Punk does, in my opinion, to show the office, show creative that we are ready for this moment. God bless him, but he's a bit of an older gentleman at this point in industry years. Just with injuries and everything, who knows how much longer we're going to be blessed with this prime CM Punk that we have. So while we still have the guy, let's give him that WrestleMania moment. And I feel like you're playing, like I said, dude, it's a really risky game to build up that big feud, that big moment against Cody in the main event, and then he doesn't get it done. I think you risk like seriously damaging his reputation with the fans and Cody's reputation with the fans. I feel like people would kind of give up on Punk potentially.
For real? You think they'll give up on Punk?
Just the whole idea of the main event WrestleMania. Like, I don't know if I want to hear you talk about it if you finally got it and you lost. You know? He's been talking about this for over 10 years. Since the pipe bomb, man. You know? And if he finally gets to that spot and doesn't get his moment, I feel like that's really letting the fans down. You know what I mean? And I feel like in Triple H's creative, it's not that type of vibe anymore. Like, he gets, I feel like, for the most part, how to give the fans that big moment that we're waiting for. And so, yeah, I am going to have to respectfully just say that that's a wild take. Like, I'm not trying to say it's impossible, because Cody's huge, and Punk could challenge Cody, and who like that could happen.
Yeah.
I just also think you might start a riot amongst the Punk fans, dude. Like, that shit. Yeah, man. I do think that no matter who CM Punk wrestles,
he needs to win
in Las Vegas. He's gotta win, man.
Damn.
He's gotta win. It's CM Punk, and he's deserved it.
Pepsi filled, bro.
It's time. It's time. You're wild, bro. You're wild.
Takes,
I respect
bro.
that you're putting that spicy shit out there, but that's a wild one. That's a wild one. It is time to predict the Women's Rumble. So I went first last time with my predictions. I'm going to let you do the honors this time. Let's go ahead and
Okay.
reveal your predictions here on my screen. And here we go. Oh, shit. Okay, interesting. So, we're going to start with your surprise. Jade Cargill makes shock return, just like surprise debut last year.
Has to, bro. Has to happen.
I do feel like it's kind of poetic that with that being where she debuted and her being out for a while, like it's just it makes sense.
Back,
Yeah,
bro.
no, 100%, 100%.
That's definitely gonna be her moment where it's like we're gonna figure out what for real.
So that was gonna be my follow up question for you: was do you think she will somehow, by like who she targets or like we'll hear her talking or something, she will somehow reveal to
We'll see
us
her reaction. Yeah, basically.
who is guilty here
I feel like she's gonna come in like mad as fuck
and go straight after somebody?
Mhm.
And bro, when she lifts up Naomi and chucks her ass out of the ring, I'm gonna look straight at you and say I was right. If it's Candice LeRae, I might die of laughter. I'll just throw that out there. I might die of laughter. But that I okay, so I do agree with you that I think Jade has to return, and I hope that we get some sort of setup going forward.
It definitely is gonna be like that.
I'm very excited to see what her Rumble appearance looks like. It could be very, very significant for everything going forward. Most eliminations, you have Nia Jax. Okay. I might have thought that you would have doubled up with Jade there, with her making that comeback, like you said, her coming in all pissed off. I wouldn't be surprised if she just kind of hulks out for a second and fucking, you know?
For how good they're like pushing Nia Jax, she's probably Fruit's gonna come and be the one to like clean house and shit like that.
I mean, it's an easy spot to put her in because obviously she has like that physical dominance over a lot of the women's roster, so it makes sense. Yeah, like I'm not I could see it. I could see it. I'm just curious because like is that building towards anything or are you just trying to further make Nia look like a monster?
Further make Nia look like a monster.
Alright. I mean if that's it then fair enough. I would like to see honestly if we're going with your Jade Cargill coming in all pissed off. I kind of think it might be more fun if she comes in and like actually rages. Like you said, focus on someone in specific first, so we gotta get that message of like, okay, that's who fucked you over somehow. But then from there, like, just turn around and start whooping shit. Like,
out and shit.
I think that would be really cool, just for her to have a rage moment, and then like, just that moment where she's standing by herself in the ring, finally back, fans going crazy, and then we get the 3, 2, 1, and like fucking some other big star like Charlotte or something comes out and we get to have a cool
stare down moment.
Some shit. Like I think you could do something really cool there with that, but I digress. Into your final four here, we have Liv Morgan, Bianca Belair, Charlotte Flair. I legit almost said Rick. Because you just wrote Flair. I was like, Rick Flair. No, Charlotte Flair.
You're not gonna let John Cena get that one on it, bro.
And fucking Jade Cargill. So this is this is interesting. Walk me through who's going after who at this point, what's going on in the match at this moment in your head, in your predictions.
In my head.
Yeah, in your predictions, what are you seeing with this final four? What's going on? Like, is Jade and Bianca still homies at this point, or is it low-key sussy vibes after
I feel like
everything that happened?
I feel like if you're right with the Naomi thing, Bianca's gonna look at her shocked, but then she's gonna see that she's not targeting her and shit like that.
See, I low-key think Jay might just rush at her too, because it's like, how the fuck you gonna replace me with the fucking... And she took me out? Nah, like, I feel like she might not stand for that.
We'll see. That's an interesting take.
I would want to see it personally. Because it'd be cool, but
the only reason why I'm saying that is because we definitely got to get some type of interaction with Charlotte Flair and fucking why am I blanking on her name?
Are you talking about Liv or Jade?
With Jade Cargill, yeah, okay. Bro. We definitely have to get an interaction between her and Flair, bro.
Yeah, no, I do think
and
that
like
that would be
how we seen this past Raw. I guess Bianca's having some type of like beef with like Liv and fucking all them and shit like that. So
yeah.
And I feel like Liv is definitely gonna use like Raquel to like get herself there, and like fucking she's gonna of course like sneak around and use fucking tactics and shit, bro, to
Of
get herself
course,
there,
of
bro.
course, of course.
Because of course she was just champion and shit like that. She's definitely gonna, and she's still a fucking some a main eventer for the
Uh
woman shit. So
huh. So when it all boils down, I'm assuming based off how you kind of described it, you see the final two, I think, as Charlotte and Jade,
probably, honestly,
and then Jade Cargill is who you have as your winner, and she goes to challenge Rhea Bloody Ripley.
the match probably everybody wants to see him.
It's up there, I think, is I think there's a few options out there that are new for Rhea that would be really exciting, and this is definitely one of them that we haven't gotten to see yet. And I mean, when you just think about that powerhouse style that both of them have, like fuck, that definitely could be an intense, intense match. I would be curious because see both of the matches you've pitched have gone for babyface versus babyface. And I would be interested to see how the dynamics of a WrestleMania would work out, where you've got two of your like headline championship matches is face versus face. Now you still got Gunther in the heavyweight. That obviously that'll be a different situation, I'm sure. And who knows who will be carrying the? It'll probably still be Tiffany, I guess. So, that could also be something a little
I think I'm
different.
seeing like heavy that
But
probably Tiffany's gonna face Charlotte
I do see that. I do see that.
as somehow.
I do see that.
Charlotte's gonna have her comeback, but she's not gonna win it yet.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, I'm surprised that. Okay. Yeah, honestly, I'm not mad at this. This is the Jade Rumble. You just you like Jade. You pitch a lot of Jade shit on here, which
Bro,
I know I get it. Like she's got that star quality to 100%. Like she's got that physical presence. Like she's fucking ripped as shit, bro. Like when she goes in there, it definitely. I get where you're coming from. I get where you're coming from. But damn, bro, like I could see it, man. I could see it.
Mm.
It'd be a interesting fuck you to Tony Khan. We put your star in the fucking
Main event,
yeah, for real,
WrestleMania,
bro.
bro.
That'd be funny. That'd be funny. All right, let's go ahead and get into my predictions here.
Mm.
Let me pull my shit up. All right. So we'll start off with my surprise, and I kind of gave it a little bit of a triple piece as a bonus. And I also agree that your surprise is gonna happen too. I think this is the rumble of surprises. That's what I'm hoping for on the women's side. And so my triple return that I'm predicting, we will see not only Becky Lynch,
Oof,
not only Asuka,
oof,
but also Alexa Bliss.
oof,
All three will
oof,
return in the Women's Royal Rumble.
oof.
I know I'm shooting for the stars, but we've had a lot of the top level women's talent out because of injuries and other situations. I feel like if they're all ready to come back, why would you not just make this the most insane women's Royal Rumble of all time potentially and bring back all of these former champions
Yeah.
right at once? And like you said, also bring back a Jade Cargill. Like do all of that shit and just make this shit absolutely unbelievable. I don't know why not. If you have it all at your disposal, which from the rumors it seems like they could potentially be possible, I don't know why you wouldn't. Because honestly, if we look at the build up between the men's and women's rumble, men's rumble was starting to get hyped up much earlier. A lot of the stars have gotten to come out and do their own individual segments, maybe getting cut off by a couple other people, but I feel like they've been a bit more
Announcing who's gonna fucking be there and shit.
careful with the buildup of the hype for the men's rumble. And the women's rumble, they literally
It's a
just
mystery,
they
bro.
did a speed run on that shit on the last episode of SmackDown where they just brought out every main event woman that they could get their hands on at that point that was available on Friday.
And yeah, I just said fuck it.
And they all just said, fuck it, we're gonna have a 6-woman tag match because fuck it, why not? But like that to me indicates that the buildup is either just really kind of lazy and bad on WWE's part, or they're intentionally kind of leaving a bit of air of mystery about the women's rumble so that we go into it wondering like, well, what's gonna happen? No one's really even talked about it that much. Like, and then all of a sudden, you're getting punched in the fucking face with banger after banger after banger after banger. No Sheamus though, but still lots of other cool shit. And so I don't know. I know I'm reaching for the stars. I will admit that, but why not, man? Let's do it. Let's make this a Rumble to remember. Most eliminations. This actually could have been partially a surprise as well. But it's been pretty heavily reported at this point, so I don't even think it's as much of a surprise that Jordynne Grace will be a member of the WWE roster pretty soon, coming from TNA. I think she might have already signed a contract, to be honest.
Wow.
And I think she will make her official debut on the roster in the Royal Rumble. And I think that they're going to want to build her up. So she's just got like a very physical.
You think she's literally gonna come in and fucking just start?
I think that's the way to debut her. Yeah, I think she comes in.
Even after last Rumble, she didn't really do anything, kind of.
Yes, not too much. There was a couple cool face-offs, a couple cool moments here and there, but it wasn't the biggest spot. I think because last year's was like cool, especially for wrestling nerds, but not the biggest moment. Now that she's actually a part of the roster, I think they're going to give her a way bigger moment to really emphasize.
She's going to be a main eventer.
And try and give her that star power off the rip for fans who aren't as familiar.
Interesting fucking shout, bro. What the fuck?
I am excited to see.
That's an interesting take. What the fuck?
Nah, bro. I think it's definitely. I think it's more on the table than you're expecting, bro. I think it's more on the table than you're expecting. We'll see.
Never thought you would pick Jordynne Grace, bro.
I mean, I know it's not Joe Hendry, but you know, I do think that she's another one of those big up and comers. And like I said, if she's gonna be a part of the roster now, I think it makes sense. So getting into the final four, we got Charlotte, Jade, Io, and Becky. So if we're bringing all these big names back, obviously Charlotte was already announced and all this stuff. I think you at least got to have a couple of those big returning names in there to remind us how fun it is to have the new stars back. And in my opinion, Charlotte and Becky are probably the safest bets. I went back and forth between Becky and Alexa because it's been a while, but I just feel like that makes Becky Lynch is a safe bet because it's Becky Lynch.
Interesting.
Obviously, there's all the history with her and Charlotte, everything. Like it, I think it makes a lot of sense. I think you're going to be more interested when I tell you that out of those four women, I have Io Sky as the winner. Yeah.
Io Sky.
Io Sky. Let's make a star. Let's really make a star.
Wow.
Like to wrestling fans, no one, like everyone who really loves wrestling already knows that Io Sky is one of the very best on the planet in between the ropes. But I think your more casual fan might not get it as much. And you're already having so many massive names that are going to have their own storylines, their own ways to kind of find their way into the WrestleMania picture. You still got Elimination Chamber coming up, and you like with that many big names, they're already established. Even if they miss out on Mania this year, they will find themselves in the main event picture at some point. Like, I'm not worried about the future of Charlotte, Jade, or Becky, anything like that. And I'm not worried about the future of Io Sky either. I just think that a Rumble win in a Rumble like this with this much star power would really elevate her. I was thinking about this earlier, that you don't necessarily have to make it the complete, like, coming out at 1 or 2, like how Rey Mysterio did, but I do think that she's one of those wrestlers that bringing her out within, like, the top 5, top 7, super early, and then giving her that Iron Woman spot.
You.
And letting her last really long and just continuing to sell throughout the whole match. Like, I feel like she would be able to build a story throughout the match of, like, being that underdog. And when she eventually pulls it off, it's like, holy shit, she actually did it.
That fucking wild. You're fucking saying.
I feel like it's more realistic than you might be expecting. I feel like Io would give either champion a phenomenal match. Personally, I think Io versus Rhea would be really cool. I don't even know. I think you can have Rhea win, honestly.
Wow.
But just Io, I would like to see her win, obviously. My point is that Io is so damn good in the ring that even in a loss, she never loses momentum because she never fails to impress the audience with how good her work is in the ring. And so I feel like, yeah, if you give her that big moment in the Rumble and elevate her to really feel like she truly, truly belongs to the casual fan in the conversation with the top level
Superstars.
talent. But then, like I said, you can do whatever you want with it after the fact, but just giving her that moment, I think, would really legitimize her. I don't know. I'm just a big fan of Io. I think she's really, really talented in the ring, and I feel like would give arguably the best match to either Rhea or Tiffany. Like in the ring, I think it would be the most entertaining match. Whoever wins or loses, I just think that we would get some really spectacular wrestling. And again, like I said, it's like no one else needs it that bad, but Io would really, really be elevated by winning this Royal Rumble. And so I think that's the biggest factor for me. But yeah, those are all of our predictions for the Women's Royal Rumble.
The women's were a lot more different, but
Yeah, well, so and I think that's all down to the way they've been built up. Like we've seen the men's rumble kind of laid out in front of us as far as who the big stars are, who the big players are, and with the women's rumble, so much of this shit is up in like Becky Lynch might not even be there, and that automatically cooks my Final Four and a whole bunch of other shit. Like there's a lot like Jade might not show up as much as we
that
think
would be
she's
fucking
going
crazy.
to. Like it's still possible. So yeah, there's a lot that the women's rumble like it could end up being really disappointing, which I hope not, but just the way they've built it up, it's either gonna be like a really awesome rumble full of a lot of great surprises, a really good match.
What would be a disappointing winner for you?
A disappointing winner. Good question. Man, that's a tough one. I guess the default answer that I know most people are gonna have on the internet, and I kind of get it, is Charlotte. I even no, no. Like I get that opinion, but no, I disagree. Maybe Becky, to be fair.
That'd be a disappointing winner to you.
Just cause like we've been there, done that with Becky and so much of the talent. Like she even had a feud with Tiffany Stratton down on NXT. So like we've literally seen it with Becky in the main event of WrestleMania a lot over the last few years. It's nothing against her at all. I think she's a great worker and everything. I feel like maybe for now there could be room for some other woman to kind of freshen up the main event. And then if you let Io have like for my prediction, like if you let Io have a massive match against Rhea and like let her win that title or something, then all of a sudden you've built up a big new star that with or without the belt, that's like a new feud that Becky could have with a star at the top level that could be interesting. Like I just think maybe if we can give a bit of breathing room to let the women's main event scene create a couple new stars and just open up a new pool of opponents for people like Becky and Charlotte who have been around for so long that they've kind of wrestled all the top level women that were around for their time. You know, we're starting to get there with people like Tiffany Stratton. Jade Cargill will hopefully be elevating herself to that level soon. I want to see Io Sky up there as well as like women that are kind of new to the main event top level scene that can then give new opponents to your Charlottes, your Beckys, your Baileys, your Rheas that have all kind of been dancing around one another for the last few years, you know. We'll see. Women's Rumble has a lot riding on it, to be honest.
It's a mystery right now, bro.
It
It's
is
the
a
best
mystery.
part, low key.
That's why I'm saying. In some ways, I'm almost more excited for it because it's like, it could be just so fucking crazy if all these surprises do actually come off.
But it could also be so ass.
But it could also be so ass. God, that's fuck. That's the thing. Yeah, I'm excited. We'll see.
We'll see, Paul.
We'll fucking see.
We'll see, Paul.
Don't fuck it up.
We'll
Don't
see,
fuck
Paul.
it up.
We'll see,
We're gonna be
Paul.
watching, and we will tell you if you fucked it up. We talked about this a bit after the last Saturday night's main event, and I felt where you were coming from, but I didn't want to fully believe it. But you're right. It's filler. It's filler.
Straight filler.
And I mean, that's okay. Because the matches could still be really fun. And, like, I feel like now we really know what we're getting into
And
when we turn these on.
And that's what I was thinking. It gives, like, wrestlers like Jey Uso a chance on a title or some shit like that.
Potentially,
Fun,
yeah.
shit like that.
It gives a chance for a match like Braun Strowman versus Jacob Fatu to happen, which I don't know would have happened on, like, the Royal Rumble or another PLE or something like that. Like, it opens up the door for some really cool matches to have a stage that feels like a big stage, but ultimately glorified house show. You know? Unfortunately, I think that's the reality of it. And I say unfortunately because when it was first announced that it was coming back and there was all the hype, and especially the first one being in New York and everything,
It's back, Jack.
I think people I think people, including myself, were expecting this to potentially be like a really significant, important show, like kind of a mini PLE, as I've kind of described it at times. But the mini PLE title has been revoked. It is now glorified house show. Really fun. Well, like, that's not a
Cool.
bad thing. Like,
It's a
I feel
fun
like,
thing to watch.
yeah, like, people have thrown that around as if that means, like, oh, you shouldn't watch it. Like, I've bought tickets to go to a house show before. That's still really fun wrestling. It's fun wrestling to watch on a Saturday night. But it's like, it's not like game changing, storyline shifting, massive moments. And hopefully at one of these shows, eventually the circumstances make it to where we get a big title win or something on one of these shows. But it doesn't seem like they're trying to force it to get the show over. Like, they aren't trying to get us super hooked on, like, oh, we gotta watch Saturday night's main event. Like, they had multiple opportunities. They could have given Sheamus the strap if they really wanted to. They could have, if they really wanted to, given it to Jay. And in reality, this was such a predictable show. Such a predictable show.
Literally, bro.
And, you know, is what it is. But I don't know. I guess we could just kind of go through the matches, and if you have any highlights, like the opener, Rhea versus Nia. I thought Rhea looked way more athletic than usual.
Dominant, bro.
Hitting a lot of, like, athletic, like, just jumping around in the ring, doing different type of shit, the code red and shit like that. Like, she pulled out a lot of shit that isn't normal for Rhea Ripley.
High flyer shit, bro. She was doing crazy shit.
I don't know if she remembered a couple things that Dom taught her from the lucha shit, but she paid attention. Cause yeah, and I'm just like wondering, I don't know why she doesn't pull stuff like that out more often. I guess saving it for the big stages, but
saving it for the people who are that big, bro.
It was cool to see. It was cool to see. Yeah, I guess that is true. That is true. But it was cool to see, and if that's the case, like, I think that could be an element that could help Rhea's work continue to improve, because obviously she's just so fucking over as a character, and I think her matches are still really good, but adding a bit of that X factor to her matches, I think could just take her to that next level. So I'm excited to see how that develops. But besides that, there was not any part of me that ever thought Nia Jax had a fucking chance. I'll just be honest with you. Braun Breaker and Sheamus, it was really good, but honestly didn't quite hit that, like, next gear of, like, oh shit, like, they're really going at it. Like, I don't know, like,
I'm surprised. I thought that was gonna be the one where they're gonna pull the trigger and give it to Sheamus.
I kind of could have seen it, but
I thought this was gonna, like, establish it, show, like, yeah, like, look,
yeah,
shit can happen here. But
yeah. I guess I understand the idea of building up the chase with Sheamus a bit more, and I guess maybe
Bullshit
give him a
bar.
WrestleMania moment or something. Cause I mean, just to build up the hype around it and everything. Like I could kind of see why you want to drag it out a bit more to really get the fans invested more in the idea of Sheamus winning the Intercontinental title. Like people like us obviously know about the whole lore around it, but I'm not sure if your casual fan really cares that much about it. So you gotta, or is just that knowledgeable about it. So you gotta try and really emphasize how much this title means to him. And I think part of that is him coming up short a bit and demonstrating to us how much that hurt him and trying to come back. And, maybe Sheamus eliminates Braun from the Royal Rumble and that's how we get back to that or something. Like, I do think we get back to it, but I also think that Braun was the correct winner for now because we got to build a little bit more heat around this thing, in my opinion. Um, Braun Strowman and Jacob Fatu was probably my highlight of the night. The match itself honestly wasn't that great.
Mm-hmm. But
So the commercials fucked up the pacing big time. That I don't know who was directing the broadcast and how it got to where during that match we had to go to so many commercial
it got cut
breaks.
right in the middle too.
But it was bad. Like it just killed the flow of the match. And I feel like all I really remember seeing for the most part was Braun Strowman offense. Like he was kind of just tossing Jacob around for a while.
In the beginning, it was Jacob kind of fucking him up, but then
A bit, but I feel like it took for him to just kind of lose it, crash out, start fucking with the referee and everything, and then just decides I'm gonna moonsault you until you die. And I think he would have kept going if someone wouldn't have came out. I think it was Tama Tonga and told him, "Hey, like, relax, man. It's okay. It's okay."
Bro's over here fucking bleeding and shit, bro.
No, man, that shit was ridiculous. And that, so I say that to say,
did you see the video of the ref that fucking went to go look at him and he went,
no,
that shit's funny as fuck.
that is funny. But fucking I just feel like it's a bit of a letdown that I feel like the most hype part of the match was after the match. But I feel like that's partially due to the nature of how it was broadcasted and partially just they were I think they just knew that they were building to that DQ and so the actual match itself just didn't feel like it got the TLC, the tender loving care that it needed, but I digress. It overall like it did the job it needed to do, which was give Jacob Fatu as a solo star like that breakout huge moment and kind of separate him from the bloodline a little more and just have him as an individual. And I felt like we presented Jacob Fatu as an individual and as a fucking star. Like
So
it worked.
Jacob Fatu's role now going forward?
That's the $1,000,000 question, isn't it? It doesn't seem like he has much, like he doesn't care too much that Solo's not around. He's not too worried about it.
What does that lead to? Like easy, just like.
So I don't think we gotta go bloodline heavy. Like I don't think he's gotta be like, oh well, I'm the tribal chief now, and I like, you know what I mean? I think he could just be Jacob, and
But
be
like, I run things now.
yeah, and just be the terrifying human that he is, and just honestly keep being yourself. Like it's working so well.
Fucking Jacob Fatu and Roman Reigns for the Uofala at fucking WrestleMania.
See, that's what I'm saying. And no, I think you don't need to push him into the bloodline shit. Keep him away from all that shit. Because that's, I think, part of what didn't help Solo fully get over on his own. Is once you start boxing with Roman, you're always going to be the little brother.
Mm-hmm.
But let's keep going down this path for a while of Jacob just picking a random babyface on the roster and deciding, I'm going to kill you every time I see you until you don't see me anymore, you know? And right now it's Braun Strowman, but I think that there's so many. Right now, the high level main event scene is starving for heels. That's why Drew McIntyre can be beefing it with so many different people at once. Why KO can be pissing off so many different people at once. Like when you're a heel, you can have like all this different shit going on at once versus all these baby faces that we have at the top level. So I feel like Jacob being able to be another one of those guys that can just, mix shit up with the top level guys would be very valuable. And he's so hot, man. He's so hot. Like, I mean, obviously he just looks hot, but I mean, like, he's just on fire right now. He is got this unbelievable momentum, and I can't wait to see what's next. And I just hope they let him do him. That's my main thing. And finally, we got into Gunther and Jay. I'm not too surprised, but a lot of people online seem to be. I felt like this was always gonna be a Gunther win. The 2 count was cool. Like they did try their best to make it feel like Jay was gonna win.
Mm-hmm.
But it's Gunther, man.
Gunther.
It's Gunther. Were you shocked at all?
Not shocked, but disappointed. I was like, oh wow.
Disappointed?
Yeah, I was like, this could have been the moment he wins his title and shit like that. That would be kind of hard for main event and shit like that.
I feel like you just wanted main event to be better. You wanted something to happen. Did you really want Jay to win the title, or did you just want main event to be cool?
I low-key wanted Jay to win the title too.
Really?
Yeah, bro.
And then what?
Who knows? You
Like-
seen Kofi Kingston get killed by Brock Lesnar the next day?
See,
We seen John Cena wrestle Rey Mysterio the day he won the fucking WWE title on Raw. They got vacated.
you can't do that though. If you do that to Jay right now, everyone looks like an idiot. There's no way you could put the title on him and then take it off of him the next day.
Like, have to pull a Vince move.
Nah. See, that's why it's a Vince move, is because it's a bad move. Like, there's no way. With how hot Jay is, do you know how that would anger people? That would legitimately piss people off if they finally got that moment and then you took it right back.
Nah, bro.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Triple H is gonna come out and he was a fucking actually take that shit himself, bro. He's gonna come out of retirement.
All right. It was a decent match overall, but honestly, Gunther needed to win.
Yeah.
Gunther needed to win. I don't know what the fuck this fool is talking about over here. This fool, your ass is tripping. Gunther needed to win that one. The right champion retained. Thank God we actually have someone who's a heel with a title going into WrestleMania, or else how the fuck are you gonna book it? I don't know. This fool just wants to give all the baby faces all the fun times all the time. But if you give the fun times out all the time, then the fun times ain't that fun.
There's a lot of people turning fucking heel, bro.
Who?
KO is fucking heel. Fucking Sami Zayn is looking like he's about to turn heel.
I don't know about that one.
Seth is might turn heel.
Maybe, but he kind of just keeps forgiving everyone and moving on. I'll give you one more chance, but next time. That's what he always got to say. I don't know, man. I disagree with what you said about thinking that this was the moment to do it for Jay. I think that moment can come eventually, but this was not it. This was not it. Gunther is too important to how this whole WrestleMania card is gonna shape up, in my opinion.
He's showing it.
You need him. You need him. He's the guy. He is the ring general for a reason. I do think Jay will get that moment at some point, but it's just not quite time yet. So, I guess, it didn't even take us too long to go through the whole card. We didn't even touch on the goddamn segment. I was bummed that we didn't go all the way with the pile driver, but I get it. He's old. Understandable. Overall, it was a confusing segment. Because there was the whole hype about this extra stipulation that Nick Aldis said was going to be added to the contract. And then it was just a standard contract signing.
And then he just got Sweet Chin Music at the end.
And then he got to do a Sweet Chin Music. So I don't know what happened there, but okay, whatever. Overall, how are we feeling about Saturday night's main event as a concept overall, and this show in particular?
It's a cool concept, but it's like it's gonna start getting old if we're doing the same thing, leading up big little title feuds, and then like nothing's happening from them and shit like that. You gotta start doing something different and do that, and not. Don't focus so much on titles. Probably have like one title match or something.
Give
like
us
two.
more of the Braun and Jacob type of matches.
Yeah, like
just
some
bangers.
Type of feud, or some shit like that. Yep.
I feel that. We'll see. I do agree that overall it's been a bit disappointing so
promise
far.
That's gonna bring the overall rating up for the show and shit.
If you just give good matches, yeah. No, I agree. I agree. We'll see how it plays
I
out
see why
going
they're
forward.
pushing the title since it's on live television. They want to make it nice and shiny.
I hope the next one isn't for a while because these were too close back to back. Also, like the last one just happened and they're already running it back. Like let's give it a bit of a break and then hopefully when it comes back it feels a little bit more exciting.
Yep.
But yeah, overall, kind of mid. Hopefully the Rumble just makes us forget all about this shit and we can move on. Fuck you. Oh man.